Hello everyone. Today I'm going to do some videotaping of the main rotor gearbox because that was my next step here. So I'm going to be installing or talking about installing it. And just a reminder, while you guys are watching the videos, if you could, subscribe to my channel, because that'll help me out with my channel. And while you're there, also give me a thumbs up. So I want to keep these videos going, and it just kind of helps if you can subscribe to it, and it lets me know how many people are viewing my channel. So what I'm going to do, just a real quick review around it first. There's some things I'm going to be talking about here. So I'm going to have my cameraman take the camera, and I'm going to just point out some of the things I've been doing here. So give me a second to set this up with my cameraman. So I got notes here. I got my little cheat sheet. First of all, when I'm installing this main rotor gearbox, it is heavy, and that tool that you see up here at the top, that is from the factory, and that is to suspend the gearbox while you're doing it. So I'm gonna have my cameraman back up, cameraman, go all the way back. And then up here at the top, I have a hoist, a chain fall that I can use, and that hook goes right in that eyelet at the top of the tool there. So anyhow, that is how I'm going to suspend it. But before I get all done with it, and one precaution is this swash plate right here. You got to be very careful when you're setting it down into the frame that it doesn't get jammed or pinched or scratched or anything like that. And there's little plastic, or not plastic, but cardboard protectors in there to keep that from banging real hard. So it's kind of tight quarters. It should take 2-3 people maybe, if you have to set that in where you're not banging it at all. So to start out with, these items here are attached after you got it hanging, and this here is called the main gear articulation support. Okay, so that has some rubber bushings here that are actually like shock absorbers, if you want to call it that. They're on both sides. Over here, there's also some here on all 4 corners actually. So you got to just make sure that you get everything lined up the way the manual calls for, because there's washers, there's bushings, there's an item in there called a spigot. I don't know why they call it a spigot, but it's a little bushing inside of this area here, and it's got another rubber bushing on it. There again, it almost looks like a rubber hose, but it's just a rubber bushing. So so going back to this side here, along with all this, we got these anti-torque. Let's see, they're just anti-torque rods, okay? And what that does is when you give it throttle in the unit, it wants to twist. These here take up that twisting action. So, and then along with that, now these bolts, the reason I have red tape on a lot of these things, those are the parts that I put in, but they're not done, because a lot of those have adjustments, maybe certain torques or whatever, and when everything is all together, then these rods will be adjusted exactly the way they need to be. Okay, and then between the main rotor gearbox and the engine are these rods here that supports the engine. In one of the other videos you might have seen, I had a ratchet strap over this, holding this up, because that's the only thing that was supporting the engine. So these rods here, there's 2 on each side, and it goes to a bearing right here. So those are particular adjustments. They stipulate an exact adjustment that you need there. And then what I did, just to make sure it was even or level with the engine, I put a digital protractor on this pulley up here. Now these belts are just loose. So what I did is I put a electronic digital protractor on this pulley, and I put one on this drive pulley down here, and I set it up exactly the same degree. I think I'm within like 0.2 of a degree, which is pretty good for now because there's some other adjustments that you need to do. So what you want to do with these adjustments is always get them as perfect as you can. Then let's see, when you get most of all this done, that's when you want to slip these belts on. You don't want to wait too late because you may have some other things on there that's going to be in the way. So the way the manual calls for is when you get done with step 1 of phase 5, is that's when you want to stick those belts on and just let them hang, dangle wherever they are. Okay, so one of the other things, cameraman, you can come around over here. I want to point out, this is the main rotor. This gadget here is a main rotor RPM sensor, and that has to be set at, let's see, it's 1.5 millimeter gap. Now this turns, okay, so there's a little, I know the camera's not going to find this. Go around the other side, cameraman. Point right in this area. There's a gap on this sensor right here. You got to put that at 1.5 millimeters. So then the next thing I started doing is mounting this. Maybe cameraman, if you don't. This is hard. If I get too close, everything gets blurry. So there's this transversal airframe support. It's a support that actually has a little rod going from the gearbox down to the airframe with a little rubber bushing. So you can back up now. Sorry about that. I got to keep directing my cameraman because there's too many little parts that are hard to see. One thing here in my notes, I want to remind everybody, whenever you're working at this stuff, if you have like a sheet or a towel, big towel, put it underneath everything that you're working on. Cover up the engine, because if you drop a nut or a bolt or a washer, you must absolutely find it if it's in this engine somewhere. Take my word for it, I dropped a nut in there here, I don't know, a couple weeks ago or so, and I had to look and look and look, and I finally found it, and I was able to grab it out with a magnet. So I can't stress enough, if you drop something in there, you have to find it. I don't care if you have to take the engine back out and shake it. You got to find it. You don't want anything laying down in there. So anyhow, I'm getting pretty close to maybe going even to the tail boom now, but I do have fuel hoses to put in here and some throttle linkages, or there's a throttle linkages that have to be put in right here. It'll probably be a little while before I start the tail boom, but it is the next step that mounts in this area here. But with me having most of all this done right now, I believe I'm going to start putting my clamps on all my harnesses here. There's a lot of wire harnesses that are just laying loose here, and I need to do it now because now I pretty much know where everything is going, and I can start clamping things down. You kind of have to leave it loose until you know for sure that it's not going to be in the way of something. So once you get all your major parts put in, you can start clamping things down. So let's see. Yeah, I think I've covered everything for now. I will probably make another video about a kind of a review of everything I've done. And I'll do that a little, maybe a couple more videos later on down the road. So for now, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to grab the camera back and see what we can do here about just doing a quick review. So there's that RPM sensor. You can see the gap there. Let me get back a little bit. And then these anti-torque rods, I'm just giving you some better close-up. There again, the red tape I have on everything is stuff that is not finished. They're in place, but not finished. And the reason for that is like this